Hey guys, this is SyedaZaidi, and today I'm going to be talking about system of inequalities. Now, this is, I'm pretty sure, 7.5 in pre-calculus, and so this topic is based on graphs, and it's mostly like, I guess, trying to find the points and like what kind of accessories you're supposed to be doing on the graph. And so I have something to help you guys, because a more easy way to remember and to know what to do when you're done when you're like graphing the equation. So the system inequalities is based on inequalities, and you have to know which one goes which. So like, example, if it was greater than, you would have to see if it would be dashed or not dashed, or shaded up or shaded down. Something just like like those kind of information that you should know about. So I have a review here that you guys should know, and it will help you a lot on your graphing. So basically, this table shows that that greater than equal to. So these are greater than equal to, okay? And these one is always a dashed line. So when you see, example, a equation like 5 greater than 0, 5 greater than x, that means that you would have to do a dashed line. So always remember to put a dashed line, because if you don't, you will automatically get it wrong. And so you want that, do you? So yeah. So now this one says shaded is based on less or greater. So what I mean by that is that based on what sign you have. So if it was greater than, then it would be up. It would be shaded up on this side or this side. It depends on which way your graph is going, because I will show you guys. When I show you guys the problem, it's more easier to explain what I mean by that. But basically, if you have a graph of a line, okay? If you have a graph of so a graph is a line, okay? When a graph is a line, and it says that and obviously you need to shade, right? Because you have to shade unless you want to get it right. So example, if you have 5 over x, okay? I don't know how that line looks like, but I'm just gonna guess, okay? So it's just an example. So basically, if I got 5 greater than x, right? One thing I have to do is I have to identify that this is a dashed line. Second, I would have to recognize that this line, the shaded part should be upside. So it should be on the right side instead of the left. The left side would be the less than. But since we have a greater sign, that means we're going to have to do it on the right side. So that's kind of like what I mean by shaded, but it's more easier when I show you guys how it looks like, so you guys know what kind of topic, what I'm talking about. So now, greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. Now these signs are also the same thing, based on the shaded. The shaded is based on the greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, all of that. But then this one is actually a solid line instead of a dashed line. So the dashed line is less than or greater than, and the greater than equal to and less than equal to are always a solid line. So please remember this, because dash line, solid line, kind of confusing. But when you guys get a hold of it, you will know that what the difference is between them. So and obviously greater than equal to will be on the right side, and less than equal to will be on the left side. It's kind of the same thing as the first greater than equal less than, but the only difference is that the greater than equal to is a greater than equal to and less than equal to is a solid line, and greater than and less than is a dashed line. So this is what you should know for the review, and let's get started with the equations. Okay, so this is the first problem, and this one is about inequalities. So, I mean, every question is basically inequalities, but this one is going to be more simpler, so you guys know what inequality means, and what the sign means, and how you guys kind of interpret the equation to the graph. So basically, the equation over here is 0 greater than x minus y squared. So this one is the equation that we have to replace, and we have to try finding the graph for that. So basically, this one would be so basically, sometimes there's always opposites, and I want to show you guys what the opposite will look like in this kind of problem. So you guys, because sometimes the opposites kind of questions would be on the like there will be kind of questions like the opposite kind of equations. So I'm just gonna show you guys so you guys know what kind of opposite equation would be there, so you guys don't get confused about between the greater than equal to or greater than sign. Basically, don't get confused between the signs. So basically, the opposite for this would be y squared minus x greater than 0. So this will be the opposite, and it's just literally just the same. There's no difference at all. No difference at all. Okay. 0 is right here, 0 is right greater than. So you see how this one's less than or greater than? Just don't worry about it. This is actually greater than, but on the opposite side. Okay, like if you think about it in the back of your head, you can kind of see like you can kind of actually understand why it's actually greater than and not less than. So if it just refers in your mind, you will know that. Okay. So now, one of the first step I do is to identify what kind of sign there is. So this sign is a what? Now previously I talked about how specific signs have specific lines. So this specific sign is greater than, okay? And greater than and less than are both dashed lines. Okay, so this one would be a dashed line since this one is greater than, not greater than or equal to. Okay, if it was greater than or equal to, that means it would be a solid line. But this, since we have a greater than, it would just be a dashed line. That's all. Okay, nothing else. Now we have to solve the equation in order to find the points. Now what I do is that I replace the sign to an equal sign. So for example, I would do 0 equal to x minus y squared. So you see how I replaced the sign to an equal sign? So it's more easier to see what kind of where I'm solving and how to solve it. Because if there was like a sign, it would be kind of confusing. I'm just like, why is this there? How am I supposed to solve this? All of that. So now we're gonna add y squared on both sides, and it'll be y squared equal to x. Now, once y squared equal, there's nothing we can do anything further, right? So we just have to stay with this. Now we have to start finding the point. So we can do example 0, 0, okay, 1, 1. We just have to basically replace, okay, 1 and negative 1, 2, 4, and let's do negative 2 and 4. So now we found the point. We found the 5 points we need, and this is kind of like a parabola, but it's gonna be like on the side parabola, not like up and down. So let's jot down the points. So 0, 0. And remember guys, since this is y squared, that means that we're gonna have to use y first, then the x. Okay. So 0, 0, 1, 1, negative 1 and 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2, and 4 and negative, right? 4 and negative 2. So you see how this is kind of like a parabola right here on the side? Can't see that, right? And now the only thing we have to identify is what kind of sorry about that. Basically what kind of sign there is. So now we have to identify what kind of shaded, or if we have to shade it or what. Oh, I'm so sorry guys, I kind of mistaken that. This was not supposed to be a solid line. I made a mistake. My bad guys, my bad. Oopsies. So 0, 0, my bad guys, let me just do all of this again. Just in case you don't get confused again. This is, actually I can't even understand where I'm pointing at. Okay, now I got it right. Okay, so this one is gonna be a dashed line. I forgot that because I wasn't paying attention to the sign until I realized. So this is a dashed line, okay? And this dashed line is based on the sign that we got, right? So now we have to identify where do we shade. Now, the shading part is always based on the sign also. So since this is a greater sign, that means that we have to kind of go on the right side to shade. But the thing is that we would do all of this, we would do all of this whole sign, but since there's a parabola and there's already a spot right here, we're just gonna start shading over there. This is how it looked like when it's shaded, and this is not a dash shade or anything. It's just a shade, okay? It's just in the graph it would just be filled in with the marker or a highlighter. But this is how it would look like when it's like this, and this is how it looks like for the graph. Okay, so this is the second problem, and this one's kind of simpler too. So basically, this is a sign. This is actually a different sign now. This is a greater than or equal to sign, and now we're gonna try finding what to do with the greater than or equal to sign. Okay, so this sign would be based on a solid line because, as I said previously, also that greater than or equal to signs or less than or equal to signs are always solid. Now, if this was a less than or equal to, that means that the less than or equal to sign would be still a solid sign, right? But the shaded sign would be different. Okay. It'd be like the opposite of the greater than or equal to. So if I when I graph, I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's opposite, and since when the sign is less than or equal to. Okay. So on this, we don't really have to solve anything because this is kind of like already solved, I guess. But it's just like it's kind of a basic kind of graph. So basically, like this one, it says y is greater than or equal to 7. Now, if you think about it, let's try solving it. So let's say y equal to 7. Now, you see how I changed the sign to an equal sign, right? So y equal to 7. Now, y equal to 7 would be what? It would be based on just, I mean, like if y was, for example, I don't know, like 4, right? Then this one would not make sense because this would be just, you know, this would be greater than this. It doesn't make sense because 7 is greater than 4, right? So that would not make any. Okay, let's just, yeah. So that would make no sense at all, right? But if it was 0 greater than 7, or sorry, my bad, I'm so sorry, I'm kind of mistaking this around here. If it was 7 greater than 0, then it would make sense, right? So basically, this would be right. So what we're going to have to do here is that we're going to have to graph without even, well, we can't really solve anything because this is the only thing we could solve, like y equals 7. That's honestly all we could do. So what we can do is that we're going to have to look at the sign and the number. So the sign and the number is 7. So since it's a positive number, that means we're going to go up. Okay? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 is right here, right? And remember, I'm only doing this because this is a positive 7. If it was a negative 7, it would be down here. Right? It would be down here, not up there. So since this is a positive 7, that means that we're going to have to cross a line like that. Literally like that. Okay, this is kind of like a y. So you see how like, you know how x, if it was x, it would be like on the vertical side, not horizontally. So this is y, it'd be horizontally instead of vertical, because if it was x, it would be vertical 7, like this way. But this is a horizontal because of y. So now we found this, the dash is a dash line, remember, right? So now we just have to shade. We have to shade the signs now. And this is how it's going to look like when you shade it. So basically, this is how it looked like. But if it was a less than or equal to, it'd be way more different. Or sorry, less than or equal to, it would basically be on this side because it's less than or equal to, right? But it'd be on this side if it was less than or equal to. But yeah, it's just like the opposite of greater than or equal to. But then the less than or equal to would be going up. So if you did one here, right? If you did one here, right? It'd be going up instead. Okay. So this is how it looks like when you graph y is greater than or equal to 7.